hello, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Fatima and I read Quicksilver. So, Quicksilver is a romantasy book about this girl in poverty who basically gets whisked into a world of the faith. And there she kind of is met with a new world and a new reality and has to figure out basically how to get out of this world so she can help her brother who is back in that poverty zone. So that's the general premise. It's a very basic romantasy book, what it is. Generally, I liked it. I thought it was a fun time. If you think about it in the terms of like take it at face value, like it is a basic romantasy and that's all it's really meant to be, and it's just meant to be a fun time. I enjoyed it for at face value what it was. Though I did have a lot of other issues. I think I gave it 4 stars because, again, overall I enjoyed it in general, but I did have quite a few gripes about it. There's things that really irked me about it, and things that I'm like, okay, whatever, I get it, but also there was a few gripes. So one of the biggest gripes that I had, so this will have spoilers, so spoiler warning now. There will be spoilers when I'm talking about these things that I had issues with about the book. So, one of the biggest gripes I had was that the main lead, male lead, threatened grape. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that on YouTube, but he basically threatened assault. He basically said, and I wrote it down, okay? He said, "If I were evil and using your oath for my own purposes, I'd order you onto your knees for me," he said, cutting me off. "I'd order you to part your legs for me. I'd order you to suck and F-U-C-K me until you pass out from exhaustion. Is that what you want, little Osha?" Just because you're not actually doing it, you're still threatening grape. And that's not okay. That irked me so much. It was very triggering. It was very gross, manipulative, and disgusting. And then her reaction to it was being horny. I was like, girl, what the hell? And she was like, of course not. Why would I want that? I rasped. She rasped it. She was like into it. And then he says, "If I compelled you to do it, you'd be innocent. Your actions wouldn't be your fault. You wouldn't have to face the fact that you wanted me." That's disgusting, honestly. This whole argument that I'm not graping you, I'm not sexually assaulting you, is so that you can't say I'm a bad guy. No, you still are a vile guy. You're still a horrible monster. It still proves the fact that you even thought about making that a threat. Like, hey, I actually do have the power to harm and grape you like that. But I'm not, because I'm actually not a monster. Girl, you're still a monster for doing that. You're still a monster for threatening grape. That's disgusting. I was so triggered for a while after that. It was disgusting behavior, honestly. It was gross. Gross. Second gripe that I had a bunch. Another gripe that I had was that the main character was too horny. It was annoying because I'm like, this man is so vile to you, and why are you still obsessed with how he looks? I don't care how hot he is. He's a disgusting creature. And then he also, near the beginning when he was like a villain, he also called her a bitch. And it's just like, any man who ever does that to any woman is, in my eyes, misogynistic. It is inherently gross to do something like that, especially when you're the man in this situation, saying that to a woman, because it's so demeaning. It's so dehumanizing. It's so condescending. Any girl can tell you how dehumanizing and how horrible it feels to be called that. Men will never really understand how demoralizing and how dehumanizing it is to be called that. It is disgusting. It is gross. I hated it. Another thing that I really disliked about this book was the use of male and female instead of like man and woman. And I get the point of it was because they're technically different species, and so they're not like woman would be for like a human female, I guess. Ugh. And then, but I didn't like the use of male and female. It just felt gross to me. I don't like it. I don't know. And I'm also referring to a list, so if you see me looking down, that's what I'm looking down at. Another thing I had a problem with is how sudden so many of the fixes happened in this book. It was just like they would introduce a problem and it would kind of get solved right away, or it would drag along in the book and then all of a sudden it's solved. Like one thing, for example, again, big spoiler here, Carrion, he was in the poverty district with our main character, and then he actually was the only heir that could defeat the vampire with his, like, the convenience of it. And also it was kind of predictable that he had some sort of faith thing because of the grandma stuff or whatever. And then another thing was a Quicksilver at the end of the book. Like the whole problem with the main lead, the male lead, was that he had this like Quicksilver in his like, so this like weird metallic entity thing that was basically driving him crazy. And so this was a problem throughout his life, and all of a sudden it's fixed because they found a witch to help it. And also they found a witch to help with the curing of the vampire. Like, oh, how convenient, we found a witch to do it all. How convenient, we haven't seen a witch this quickly or this strong in a while, and it's convenient, we found her, she can fix everything like that. Weird. Also, I want to talk about how annoying this main character was. This main character is, quite frankly, very stupid. Like, don't get me wrong, there are things that I enjoyed about this character. I liked a lot of her quips. I thought they were funny. I thought she was sassy, and that was fun. But she was stupid. It was hard. And I get she grew up in a place where she didn't really have education. But like some of the dilemmas that were happening in this book was like, one thing, she had to make a bunch of these relics using Quicksilver, so that all the warriors can use it and then survive or whatever, and like not go crazy from passing the Quicksilver pools. However, from the get-go, she heard the Quicksilver talking to her. She heard this metal talking to her. And never once did she think, oh, I can talk back to this metal and ask it to do something for me. Until another person said, why don't you do that? And she was like, oh, no, duh. Like, yeah, no, duh. Like, sorry, that was really stupid. Like, everybody thought that from the beginning. Secondly, whenever she makes a deal with somebody, whether that was the Quicksilver or the main lead, Kingfisher, she was like, oh, this is the deal or whatever. Like, one of the deals was like, oh, I'm going to make as many relics as you need, and then you're going to let me free. Girl, you don't even know how many relics he needed. It could have been thousands and thousands, and obviously it was thousands and thousands. No duh. Or this idea when she's just like, when the Quicksilver is like, oh, I just need a small favor from you. Like, don't make a deal without knowing what the favor is. I don't care how desperate you are. Don't do that. You've been bad at making deals this entire time. Why are you making another deal? That was gross and stupid. Also, when the Quicksilver is like, give me a song, I'll keep it, is your first thought not going to be like, oh, you mean you're going to keep it and it's going to be removed out of existence? Like, no duh, girl. And she's like, what? What? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding? She's like so stupid. I'm sorry. She's really stupid. Also, she has internalized misogyny. It was gross how much internalized misogyny is, and especially you see this when she interacts with other female characters, because that's what they call them, other women in the book. But like, first of all, she was, there's very, very, very few women characters in this book. And the woman character that was in this book that was slightly aggressive or whatever, there's another warrior there. She was like super aggressive, very upset that her leader basically abandoned them, and justifiably so, was really upset about this, and is a warrior. She automatically hated this girl because she was aggressive. Like, you're the only one that's allowed to have strength? Like, also, like, it's so rude. It was gross and misogynistic. And, like, this warrior woman, she was justifiably upset. And she never even personally attacked Ceres. The only time she personally attacked her was at the dinner table because she didn't follow the customs of their Fae people. The Fae people had customs that, like, at the head of the table, beside the head of the table, is where the wife would sit. And when she went to sit that place, she was like, you're gonna get in trouble because that's not where you're supposed to sit. And then Ceres got so pissed at her. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Disgusting internalized misogyny. And she's okay with Everlane. Oh, she's okay with Everlane because she's pretty enough and girly enough and, like, soft enough and not actually a threat to her. Like, is that the only form of femininity that you're okay with? I hate it. I hate it. She was not a girl's girl. She has internalized misogyny. And she's like, oh my God. And also, the dresses. Who cares about dresses? I don't care about... I hate this thing when they do it in, like, romantasy books, or, like, where there's a girl who's not like other girls' main character, where she's like, I can't wear dresses. I know I look stunning and hot in them, but, like, I wouldn't wear a dress. I want my raggedy clothes and pants. I don't want dresses. Why are we still on this? Why is this still a thing? It doesn't... Ugh. I'd rather have a character that loves wearing dresses, honestly. Ugh. Oh, it pisses me off. And then another thing about this main character, she was so horny. It was annoying. Like, I get it. You're an adult and you have a high libido, I guess. But also she, like, would... Maybe she's a little delusional about this, but she would always be like, oh, I'm amazing at sex, basically. Or, like, that was her reputation, that she would be, like, a good sexual partner. Because if she's, like, either they're, like, angry or, like, you get sex or whatever. Like, how she blows off steam. But then, anytime that she had sex in the book, she would only ever be in missionary with the guy. Like, is that good sex? Like, I mean, does that make you, like, an amazing sexual partner? Like, sure, maybe. And, like, you can do whatever you want, but, like, to, like, say that you're so amazing at sex because, what? You can do missionary? I'm sorry, what? And also, Kingfisher also did this, where he's just like, oh, I would, like, ring you out, and, like, we would go multiple rounds, and, like, oftentimes he was, like, a one-and-done type of guy. And I get it, maybe it was, like, because he was, like, trying to hold back for her so she wouldn't, like, collapse. But, like, seriously, like, it was... I mean, the smut scenes were fun. They're fine. Yeah, whatever. Also, talking about, like, plot stuff in general, it was really... This author really just threw every single plot line out there. And it felt like what the author was trying to really do was make it like one of those, like, epic fantasies where there's, like, a giant big world universal problem that they have to solve and that they're at the center of, clearly, because that's what they did at the end. But, like, it was messy. Quite frankly, it was messy. There was too many things going on. And, like, when things were going on, it was a sudden fixes for a lot of things. So it was like, oh, yeah, let's wrap up that storyline and then start quickly another one. It was just kind of... The plot was... And they were trying really hard to make it, like, a cool, big, universal, world-shattering type of, like, main character and, like, storyline. But, like, it was too rushed. You can't get through all of that in one book, and, like, it felt too rushed with that stuff, and, like, I don't know, it felt weird to me. It felt weird. It was too discombobulated with the plot line and the structure. I will say, another thing that I liked and disliked, because one thing, Kingfisher, our main male lead, he was actually a villain. He was actually rude and disgusting and a vile human being, or fae person thing. He was actually vile. He was actually villain. And when we're talking about enemies to lovers, I did enjoy that aspect that he was actually the enemy to this main character girl. But in the end we figure out they're like true soulmates, which is like, I hate the true soulmates storyline thing. I hate it. I think it's stupid, and I want people to be able to choose who they love and like actually stick by that choice because they have been through so much together, and because they've actually decided like, yeah, you're the person that I want to actually spend a lot of time with. You're the person that like I am choosing to be with because I like it's like completely intrinsic. It's not biology. It's not a soulmate connection thing, because then it's like, did you actually ever have a choice in it? Like, what does that mean? Like, I don't like that. I want somebody who's like, I want a romantasy couple that actually chooses one another because they are willing to love each other through thick and thin and be through it together, like, and be loyal to each other through thick and thin because they chose it, and not because they're soul bonded or blood bonded or dragon bonded or whatever. Like, it's a soulmate connection. I don't want that. I don't want that. I want an actual genuine love that is intrinsic and not biology. Kingfisher, actual villain, which was kind of refreshing, but also I hated him. Okay, another thing that was kind of weird for me, and like, don't get me wrong, I read a lot of vile fan fiction. Okay, I've done my time. I've done my time on AO3. I have a stack of books here that I bookbound for fan fiction. There is some vile stuff I've read, including Omegaverse stuff. Of course I have. Who hasn't if you've had a fan fiction phase? And so when the whole thing with the smell and the arousal stuff that was happening in this book, it felt kind of violating, to be honest. Like, I feel like the way that a lot of Omegaverses do it is that usually you'll only be able to smell the arousal when they're in heat. So when it's like high arousal states. And that's usually how it's like in fan fiction. Like, when you're in heat or in a rut, that's when you have a huge arousal pheromone. But here, if they were even just a little bit wet or a little bit turned on, everybody could smell it. And that feels so violating. And Saris was like horny all the time. Like, all the time. She would look at Kingfisher and be like, oh, I'm wet. Like, it is just, it felt kind of violating. And the thing is, like, I don't mind, like, when there's, like, the scenting and pheromone stuff that's happening. Clearly, I read a lot of fan fiction with it. And so, like, I think it can be done well. But I don't think this was done well. I think it was done poorly and kind of violating. Also, at the end of the book, when the god person basically, huge spoiler, removes her from the universe and Kingfisher from the universe, how does that work? Like, that doesn't make sense. So they're apart from the universe, but they can still interact with the universal material around them. So they can still, like, breathe air and they can still touch things and manipulate the universe around them. How does that make them apart from the universe? Unless they're saying something like it's somebody living off the grid, and then, like, the gods are, like, the government, and you could be, like, living off the grid, but that doesn't mean you're, like, not a part of the world. But it seems like he took them out of the world, unless he just means, like, off the grid. Like, I don't know what that whole thing was. It was just weird to me. Another thing, the fox character. It was cute, nice friendo. I love a little pet in a thing, but usually that pet has more of a personality, and usually you're feeling more attached to it. I just didn't care for this fox. I'm like, what is the point of this fox here? Like, this fox served no purpose in the story other than to show, like, Saris was, like, I don't know, like, cool because she has a pet. Like, I don't know, it felt like, or like, so empathetic and cute. She's, like, such a sweetheart. Like, okay, whatever. It felt weird. I think the fox is unnecessary unless you give it more of, like, a personality that you can feel attached to, or you give it a role in the book. So, like, I don't know, it's, like, really good at fighting, I don't know, or finding things, like, it can sniff things out or something. Like something like an Appa and Momo, right? They're not necessarily there for, like in Avatar: The Last Airbender, Appa and Momo. They were pets and they were family, but they also had their own roles and, like, personalities that fit with the gang, you know? And this fox just was unnecessary to me, honestly. Also, when they went to, like, the god area at the end of the book, and then they met the two goddesses, the two twin goddesses, And their first question was basically like, how is sex with Kingfisher? That feels so gross and violating and icky. It felt so icky. And also, you're goddesses. So, like, I'm sure you could, like, do some sort of magic or godly powers to figure out what it actually feels like without having sex with that being. You know? And also, I don't know, like, none of it felt like none of their sex felt like shattering, to be honest. It just felt like normal. Anyways, that was weird and violating. And also, if they're goddesses, why do they seem so like childish? Like, why did the man god have more of the power versus the women goddesses there? Like, that felt weird and gross. Like, that felt misogynistic too. There's also a part in the book, I don't remember, but I wrote this in my notes, but shutting her up with a kiss, disgusting, hate it. And then also the switch from like when they were enemies to lovers was like so abrupt to me. Like, it was like all of a sudden they're enemies and then all of a sudden they're lovers, and like there was like not really a transitionary period. I felt like it got condensed all in one book. Like, it doesn't have to be, they don't have to become lovers in the first book. They could have like drawn out this enemy arc, because there's gonna be another book, right? They could have drawn out the enemy's arc for much longer and then make the transition much longer before they get together. Like, maybe, I don't know, they could have like had hate sex first. I don't know. It felt like there's no transitionary period between like the enemies to the lovers portion, and it was very, very short. And I also didn't understand when Saris was like, oh, actually, I care about your world and your universe, and like, I want to help. Girl, this whole entire time you've been begging to go home, and then all of a sudden you care about all these warriors and people? No, you don't. Like, what? She's like, oh, I really want to help, and like, I care, and I want to make these relics for everybody, and like, I want to save you all. Okay. Where did that come from? Nowhere. It came out from nowhere. Like, it just all of a sudden. Again, plotline structures were weird. No transitionary periods, whatever. Like, why can't, like, you know what I miss in a lot of romantasy books or fantasy books that have a romance subplot is the yearning. I want the yearning. I want the slow burn, yearning, and then all heat encompassing. You know? Like, I want that. Make it last like 3 books before they hold hands. Make it last like a couple books before they even like kiss. Like, it's too quick. But also, this book was weirdly so long. I don't know, it took me so long to read. I kept renewing it from the library like so often, and I was like, it took me months to read because I kept renewing it, so I'd have to pause in between when I had my renewals. It took me so long to read this book, and it's just like, because again, the plotline structure is just, it's not necessarily that it was slow paced. I guess it was still kind of fast paced, but it was just, I don't know. Anyways, that's all the gripes I had with it. I guess I didn't really talk about the things that I liked. I liked it for what it was. I liked that at face value it was a romantasy, and I liked the romantasy. That's kind of like what I could tell you what I liked about it. It was just a fun time. But I did have a lot of issues with it. A lot of issues, clearly. I mean, I think I spent most of this video talking about all the issues I had with it. I can give you some of my predictions. Some predictions I have is that Carrion and that Lorelei guy or whatever his name is, the other Fae warrior guy, they're gonna end up together. Because we've got hints that Carrion is bisexual. So, I feel like that was a pretty handed spoiler, though. I mean, a pretty handed, like, not spoiler, but prediction. Foreshadowing. She was pretty like, honestly, a lot of the things were predictable, which is, you know, typical. Because her foreshadowing is so on the nose. Yeah. Anyways, I think that's all I wanted to talk about for this book. Danya. That's the warrior girl's name, Danya. She was like, right? Danya. She was like so mean to her for no reason, like, honestly. Also, Everlane got so quickly fixed. Again, quick plot lines, really fixed easily. Oh yeah. Also, there's one other thing that was like, okay. But he was like, I would know you, what did he say? what was the quote? I didn't take the quote, but it felt like a Song of Achilles plagiarism. Okay, yes. He says, I know the smell of you anywhere, on anyone. I know it blind and in the dark. Across a effing sea, I'd be able to sense you. That felt very Song of Achilles to me. Like, that felt kind of plagiarism-y. And I get the whole scent thing is a big thing. But also Kingfisher? Lame. I'm sorry. Like he says, nobody will ever F you the way that I'm about to F you, Sarah Svane. I'm about to introduce you to all 7 gods. When you meet them, don't forget to tell them I'm the one you worship on your knees. And then they had missionary. Okay, please actually introduce me to the 7 gods, because both of them seem to have a grandiose sense of self to think that their sex is amazing. But I mean, if they both like it, great for them. And also, this line was so cringe to me. This line, don't call her sunshine, he commanded. Why not? If Carrion's plan was to poke the bear, then he sure as hell knew blah, 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 blah. Okay, and then this. Because she is the moonlight, the mist that shrouds the mountain, the bite of electricity in the air before a storm, the smoke that rolls across the battlefield before the killing starts. You have no idea what she is, what she could be. You should call her Majesty. I have secondhand embarrassment from that. I'm sorry, that was so cringe. That was so cringe. I mean, okay, I need to be nice about this. Like, if this was a man's that I really, really liked, and he said this about me, okay. But I was so cringed out about this. I'm sorry, like, it was so cringy. This was way cuter. I'll be grateful for every second that I can say that I belong to you, Sarah Svane. 80 years or 18 hours, it doesn't matter to me. It'll still be the highest honor in my life. It should be. But also, to say this before you knew you were gonna ditch her, disgusting behavior. Gross. Hate it. Anyways, I think that's all I have to say about this book. Maybe I didn't like this book as much as I thought, actually. I mean, I enjoyed it for what it was. Knowing that it's a basic romantasy, and that is it, and take it at face value, then I enjoyed it. But if you actually critically think, or think about the plot, or think about the structure of anything, or think about the characters in any sort of critical way, then it isn't a good book. But you know what? It was a fun time. I had a fun time. Anyways, thanks for watching. I hope you have a good day/night. Let me know your thoughts about this book, or did you like it? Did you not like it? Did you have some of the same thoughts that I had about this book? Because clearly I don't think I can be alone in this. Anyways, thanks for watching. Have a good day/night. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.